this. I got to put on Do Not Disturb first, which is
Okay. All right. Hi, guys. We are live here on Yankee T News with Jason Douglas and the world famous, soon to be world famous, Common Sense News and Entertainment. If they only knew.
That's right.
If they only knew.
If they only knew.
Yeah.
And we're going to go live on Facebook now, too, while we're here. I'm a little slow at the wheel at the moment.
It's all right.
But here it comes. 3, 2, 1. And it's a bird, it's a plane. It's welcome to Common Sense News and Entertainment. Once again, here we are on a Thursday night. It is Thursday night, June the 11th, 2026. And another amazing night here with Yankee T News and Court Ratnowski. And it is the second to last one for me before I head for Vermont for the week.
Right.
For a much-needed vacation. Lots to do between now and then. So let's get at it. Want to talk about Iran first?
So I think DJ Ricky worked out very well last
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about that first. I only had an opportunity to watch a short portion of that so far. I am going to make it a point to watch the whole thing, though.
Yeah.
And, so how did it go? Good, huh?
We covered a lot of ground. It's funny because we hit the 1 hour mark and then it was like, well, it's time to go. But we kept talking and talking. The next thing you knew, it was almost 2 hours.
That's great. Look, I'm all for more content. I want people to understand.
Yeah.
The reason why I cut it off at an hour is because I have to go to bed and I get up very early in the morning. And
yes, I know.
That's how it is.
We need to do 45 minutes tonight.
I could do if we did this at 9 in the morning, you wouldn't get me to stop.
All right.
I'd have to stop to go to work.
All right. So let me jump to the topics.
Let's do it.
Sneaky Iran, which is another way of saying already. I mean, there's so many examples where they're bargaining in bad faith, and here's one more. So we'll get to that. Belfast starting up. Okay, there's a report of men in mass going around attacking these illegal immigrants in, I guess, Northern Ireland. And that is just for openers, ladies and gentlemen. That is, remember when I was talking to DJ Ricky, the sense is that this event was clearly the crossing of a line for people. This is it. We're out of here. We're done. So now they're going to take matters into their own hands. And as far as I'm concerned, when Keir Starmer starts spouting off about being opposed to violence and people speaking out, all he's saying is, don't bother me. That's his message. Don't bother me. Yeah. Okay. That's great leadership there. That's being really decisive and taking a crisis into your own hands and under control. Anyway, so Belfast, I don't know how much there is to add to it, but this is a moment where we have to stop and look at this as much as we can within limits. Meantime, AI troubles. Oh my goodness. I don't know how much the audience has followed these things, but the basic problem right now, all right, the basic problem is that the people with OpenAI, Anthropic, Claude have business models where unfortunately they will never make a profit.
Yeah, Selena was saying something about that this morning too, about how just the AI is just not living up to the expectation.
No, it's not.
Really the reason.
No, it's not. So there's going to be a day of reckoning here. Now, having said that, there are plenty of examples where when you go back in time, where other industries, when they burst upon the scene, the initial investors lost all their money. The bloom went off the rose on that technology or industry.
Hello, MySpace.
Well, okay.
Hello, Hotmail.
Well, you're talking about internet. The internet. And yes, the internet is a perfect example of that.
These pioneers that fizzle out.
Not the only example. This guy pointed out that when you look, Ed Dowd, that who's got made the point, the history of how the railroads formed. Okay, you had these people who invested in the railroads. They built them out. The whole railroad system just became one big commodity. So everything was price competition. You had consolidation. Mm-hmm. And in the process, the original investors lost all their money. And it wasn't until later when the railroads proved their worth that they actually began to make money. Okay.
Hello, Facebook. Hello, YouTube.
Yes. Well, Google. The telecom bubble from the 90s, when Cisco.
As one of the few AOL clients back there, you should know what I mean about AOL was an initial investment on the internet that I'm sure a lot of people lost money on eventually.
Yeah. Okay. So here we go again. Now, I actually want to use this as a backdrop. Yes, we still have to talk about the AI.
What you mean is, in terms of AI, is that the human race can buy another few years of existence before they get their act together and destroy us.
Well, yes, I was going to bring that up. It's true. It does. Note to self: next time, I'm going to have to put up links for these things so people can go check out what we're looking at, because right now we're just talking. All right. So yes, there's a video where this gentleman starts with a paper that where the research was asking the question, well, what happens if we take all the different popular AI models and effectively put them in robots? What happens? And then they interact with each other as well as with humans. And we'll just say that the outcome is pretty scary. It's not good.
It's terrifying. It's cataclysmic.
Right. So, but this is my take on that. Okay. Because all this stuff that we're seeing, all this bad behavior from these large language models is a result of one thing. And that is how these models were created in the first place, which was to scrape every last piece of information and knowledge and data that could be taken off of the internet and by any other means. Then you had to clean up the data to create these massive databases.
It's a super search engine. It's a super search engine is all.
No, it's not.
That's how it starts.
You're not getting my point. All the worst forms of human behavior are online. They're all in Reddit. They're all in Google. They're all in these other online things where there's a lot of information. Yes. And all that's happened is that you have this kind of soup, all right, of words and ideas and languages we understand it that have been mixed together. And what came out, it's kind of like garbage in, garbage out. If you put in evil thoughts, you'll get evil thoughts out. All right. If you put bad behavior in, you'll get bad behavior out.
Well, I'm not missing your point at all. That's what I mean when I say super search engine is it's taking everything into consideration. And when you take the good and the bad and you mix it together, you blur it into something that's really bad at the end of the day because the bad is louder.
Right. Well, for some reason, the bad seems to be prevailing, which I don't understand.
Well, because it's the same reason why one bad apple can spoil the whole damn bunch. Same reason why that one kid in the classroom disrupts the whole class when he acts up. That's the reason.
All right. I just want to point out the discussion you and I are having right now has not been had by the people who are running AI. There's been no mention. Any of the interviews, any of the articles I've read, nothing. They haven't broached this. All right.
Which is bad news.
We've got the few who admit to it say, oh, gee, we've got a problem. But they haven't been able to figure out how did the problem happen. Okay. So what is the answer? I hate to tell you. Start over. It's expensive, yes. But if you don't start over and set up the guidelines, in other words, you have to raise a large language model like you raise a baby. You raise them right. You teach them right from wrong. Okay. You give them rules to live by. Mm-hmm. They have not done that.
No, I think it's too late.
Well, no. I mean, all right. For what we have out there now, I would agree. Okay. And that's why I'm saying they have to start over.
But what if we say we do decide to start over and China does not?
Then they're going to just screw themselves, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, they could end up with something powerful and evil, and all we have is someone playing by the rules, which is
the
same problem we have in Connecticut with Republicans.
You're assuming that evil won't turn on them.
Well, it might, but so then the machine-controlled evil China comes after us. Then what's the difference? It's still a pretty bad thing.
Okay,
they have no guidelines. They're not using these guardrails, and we are.
You're making unwarranted assumptions here. Okay.
I'm making a
dealing with something unknown, right? The best that could be said from the comments that people like Sam Altman have said is, well, when we've done the math, the probability assessment, we think that any given large language model could get it right 75% of the time, but wrong 25% of the time. Well, is 25% of the time wrong enough to kill us? Probably is.
But that's my point is, again, and I have to agree with Bernie Sanders on this one thing, believe it or not. I can't believe I'm agreeing with the man. His premise is wrong, but I agree with him in that if we use guardrails and they don't, that may lead to more of their destruction. That's still an unguarded or unguardrailed AI around an entire half of the planet is a major threat to our own national security in any case.
All right.
And since we don't cooperate with the Chinese, I think we should at least have a discussion with them about how we can. We can't trust them, but the discussion should be had.
So how do you negotiate with people you don't trust?
Well, that's why do we negotiate with terrorists?
Yeah.
Go back to Iran real quick.
Case in point. Yes.
Right. So I guess we should at least, if we're going to have behind the scenes discussions with the Chinese, who seems to be the other world leader in AI right now, along with us, is, we are all, even though we may not like each other, we're all human beings, and let's not let machines take over. How can we prevent that? It may not work out, but someone has got to try.
Okay. Well, all of this said,
or it's like an arms race to the end.
I'll tell you, if anything, there should be some number of people who are skilled with AI, these large language models. Remember here, why don't I see if I can pull that thing up? It's a useful reference in this
picture stuff. I'm telling you here. That's all.
Where did it go? Because we
like I said, my prediction is 30 years from now, the Chinese and Americans will be best friends, trying to deal with how to deal with the out of control AI. That's where we're going. Okay. Oh, I remember this thing.
Okay.
This looks psychedelic, man.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. Okay. All right. Notice the purple circle. Okay.
I see it.
Or lavender, whatever that color is. Notice that in effect, it's the smallest circle there. Now, let's make this larger for the audience. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's the smallest circle.
It is the smallest circle.
Okay.
About that.
All right. So if we're just talking about artificial intelligence, which is that dark blue big circle, right? You have other forms of artificial intelligence. And I, Arthur Crethel Rutnowski III, have bitched and moaned about greater reliance on, quote, biological intelligence in order to develop new, quote, knowledge systems. Mm-hmm. All right. So I pointed out, for example, that bees, even a simple bee brain, they understand the concept of zero. All right. And there are, and again, in these brains, there are forms of reasoning that are totally unexpected. Right?
Okay.
All right. Limited number of neurons. We should be able to copy those. But do I hear anybody trying to do that? No. Maybe into some laboratory somewhere. We'll hear about it soon. But the point is, whatever breakthrough might be seen there is going to take us, I believe, in a completely different direction from these large language models that are sitting here.
Okay.
That stands to reason. Meantime, you have the orange circle, machine learning. Okay. So large language models end up being just a subset of the subject of machine learning.
Mm-hmm.
So the point I'm trying to make here is that there are many alternatives, many paths, many other things that can happen if the subject is about artificial intelligence.
You know what this sounds like to me? A little bit like, sir, would you rather die by the sword, or by the poison pill, or by the electric chair, or by a firing squad, sir?
No.
Which one do you prefer?
You're being unfair.
Well,
it is possible.
I don't like AI.
Okay, it is possible to make AI that works for the human race. I really believe that. Now,
I believe that too for a time.
Okay. No, you don't believe it now?
I believe that. I believe in what the scenario that the writers of The Matrix wrote about is a pretty accurate depiction of what, given human nature, I think what we'll get. I'm going to give you a prediction. We're going to get AI. It's going to eventually, we are going to put AI style thinking into a humanoid type of creature, and we will have an AI race that will develop across the world in time, and will be benevolent and helpful.
Well, for what it's worth,
for time, until they get better than us and smarter than us and start to figure out that we're in the way, and then we're going to be gone.
All right. So for what it's worth, there was a movie starring Robin Williams.
Okay.
Which I think it was put in. I don't know if it was.
This has nothing to do with Mrs. Doubtfire Court. Come on.
Nope.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
This was where he played a robot.
Okay.
And I think it was. I forget how far in the future it was.
Was he a friendly robot?
He started out as a friendly robot.
Yeah. Okay.
But what he did was he became more and more, shall we say, moralizing, and strict, and demanding that they obey rules and such.
Okay, and eventually probably punishing.
Yeah, so this is a mild form of the same point, that you can create something and there are definitely unintended consequences. And
right, and I'm just going by simple logical, like a Mr. Spot type of thing. The bottom line is, we can up our human intelligence doesn't really upgrade much, and if it does, it takes hundreds of thousands of years. Thousands of years, whereas these guys are going to be upgrading like every year.
Okay, well, I'm going to disagree with you on I'm going to disagree with you on a critical point. I am going to go back to an article I was working on. That's downstairs, darn it. There was an interview this morning on CNBC
Okay.
between Jeff Bezos and one of their
Scumbag. Okay.
CNBC journalist flunkies, and he has a partner named Vic Bajaj. Vic Bajaj. The two of them
Okay.
have gotten together and formed a new company called Prometheus. Prometheus has actually been around for a while. You know, people are going, well, gee, Jeff, you were a CEO for Amazon and you stepped down from there. How come you're back to being a CEO again?
That's
Well,
what we do. That's what entrepreneurs do.
yes, they do. So what is stimulating the entrepreneurial juices in Jeff Bezos this time? Well, I'm glad I asked that question.
AI.
Well, AI, but in a certain area.
Which one of those
Okay.
colorful circles are we
All right.
talking about?
Okay. One of the aspects of this, and this gets kind of dicey, is the role of AI in creativity and innovation. Now, there was a period of time about 8 or 9 years ago where this thing called generative AI hit the scene. And designers were all in a titter because there were so many examples of these fantastic graphical images where generative AI could be used for design challenges. And they like to use one example was a person who wanted to make a new type of high heel for women. And the upshot, and behind this, there's also something called biomimetics, okay, using nature-inspired design. In this case, they looked at the shoe and they said, well, we want to be able to make this shoe as light and as strong as possible. So where did they get their inspiration from? Let me think. Something that is structurally sound, yet light and strong. Bird bones. That's right, bird bones. Because when you look at the way bird bones are constructed, they're hollow, okay?
Mhm.
But they have these bone threads inside them that connect in a certain way to maximize strength. In other words, the tension and tension and compression forces inside are distributed in such a way with these connectors to maximize the strength of the bird bones, yet have it be very light.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Brilliant.
Well, the idea now is, you applied some mathematics to this, and they brought this to making these shoes. And so, they had to cover them up, but inside, if you looked inside, they were very much like a bird bone. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, the design had to reflect the fact that most of the pressure was directed down rather than being evenly distributed. And with that in mind, they were able to come up with this, nature-inspired creative solution to creating a new type of shoe. Good. Okay, well, Jeff Bezos and his sidekick are looking at things like that and asking themselves, well, what can we do with artificial intelligence? They were, in my mind, I'm going to say it, you guys are smart, maybe smarter than me, I'm not sure. Rich, definitely richer than me. But I'm not sure you really understand what you're talking about. You're kind of muddling through this. And I will get to why I think they are muddling through this. Again, the idea was that they would come up with what they called an artificial general engineer. So in a sense, they're trying to come up with a special purpose application for large language models built around the challenges of engineering and innovation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this, in my opinion, is a very important thing to do because manufacturing, whether you think it or not, is coming back to America. And the demand for more engineers, designers, programmers, yes, programmers, we'll get back to that AI trouble thing again, are going to be needed in order to enable these manufacturing enterprises to flourish here in America.
Yeah, but aren't we going to have, we might have a labor shortage problem?
What? Well, hold on a second. Eric is being difficult here. Yeah. We'll see. I have found AI very useful. Yes, I would agree with you. It's very useful. But this goes back to the earlier argument here that they gave up about a year or so ago on the idea of finding a universal general intelligence. They realized that it couldn't be done, that the compute was too much, we didn't have the resources for it, and there were a few other problems thrown in. So they backed off and they said, well, we can take smaller models and use them for specific applications. And on that count, they've been, well, I mean, on the face of it, in terms of what Eric is saying, they've been successful. However, that success is measured in terms of loss. There was a data point thrown out for OpenAI. Okay, so you use these, you subscribe, you submit a token for your query. That's part of your subscription. Like say $100 a month, you get 10 to 20 tokens for that month. And the problem is that I spend $1 on one of those tokens. Okay, but OpenAI, with all the resources and stuff, they're spending $1.22. So they're losing 22 cents on every inquiry that I try to make. So the joke was, this one person said, well, they're kind of hoping that you'll use this like a gym membership. Sign up, but forget to use the tokens, and that way they can make money.
Okay, so you just talked about the increase in manufacturing coming back to the United States.
Yes.
That's going to create a huge need for upper management and middle management and labor force in America. Right. And where are these workers going to come from? We're going to have a labor shortage, and who's going to fill these positions? It's going to be AI.
No, it will not be AI.
How are we going to have enough workers that are skilled in America to do these positions?
Right. Maybe I'm not making myself clear here. Okay. The idea they have, all right, is to use AI to support creativity and innovation by engineers and designers. Mm-hmm. Use AI to support the creativity and innovation of engineers and designers, right? But they have acknowledged that it is a hugely complex task. And let me just give you an example. Back in 1990, I attempted to write a little biotech newsletter, and the first article I wrote was about ideas very similar to what they're talking about now. That's right, over 40 years later, or 20, over 30 years later. Okay, the concept was that we would be able to develop a machine, a computer that would acquire all existing biomedical knowledge and help to cure patients. In this particular model, there was a case of a patient in his 60s who had an undiagnosed illness. The doctors couldn't figure it out. So the machine is rolled in, has this huge bandwidth of data in the back. It's sucking up all the information from the Library of Medicine and other places, and it spits out an answer, says this gentleman is suffering from a rare disease. There are only 6 cases in the world, and we have a recommendation for treatment here based upon the existing drug knowledge database that we have. And here's the regimen for treatment. Mm-hmm. Okay, that was my idea. And now, over 30 years later, we're beginning to approach that idea, all right? Because you're taking something that's an unknown and you're coming up with answers for that unknown. This is the wall, this is the other wall that AI is hitting, all right? They can solve problems, but they're not good at, true creativity. We've seen examples of artistic creativity, like they're given the challenge to create something that looks like a Monet, looks like a Picasso. Generative AI has been able to do that, yes. But here, in the context of, say, developing a new manufacturing process, the rules are a little bit more strict and the process is a little bit more difficult, and you still need the kind of innovation and creativity that an engineer can bring to these problems. And so their argument is that they're going to create the kind of, I guess, large language models that will support engineers in this pursuit. Now, I say that's all fine, but there's a sense that the large language model has these limits in terms of what they can really do, all right? We just talked about examples of garbage in and garbage out. So it's going to come down to helping the engineer uh, define the problem and develop an approach to implementing the solution. Because when it comes to engineering, great, you make a prototype, but now you've got years of testing ahead of you to do that. And I think where the way that Jeff Bezos is thinking might play to an old saying attributed to Einstein when he was asked, if you had an hour to solve a problem, how would you solve it? And Einstein said, well, I'd spend the first 50 minutes deciding what the right question is, and then I'd spend the next 10 minutes solving it. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I think there's some capability with AI, but I think if you start to push it with respect to, let's say, metallurgy and coming up with new alloys or trying to use these alloys to do other things, you're going to hit limits. And so they recognize that there is this, I'm going to call it a dark zone, for lack of a better term. And they think that they can come up with something. So I say, Jeff and your buddy there, Vic, go to it. I hope you can pull it off. But everything else that's been going on here that's a problem is a problem. And I want to throw in once again, they were still talking about large language models, and I'm still talking about using more biological intelligence. And it looks like never shall the twain meet. Just saying. Mm-hmm. Okay. So all of this is happening still with all these other problems in the background. You got to believe that if you create an artificial general engineer, like Jeff Bezos is talking about, that you're not going to have something that's going to, in effect, be shoving the artificial general engineer out of the way and says, I'm taking over.
Yeah, that won't happen?
Sorry?
That will not happen?
Don't know. I don't know. I mean, all right, I'm going to, here's my next crazy idea.
The only thing that can save us from extinction is the one thing we haven't invented yet with AI is like the real, what makes us conscious, what brings us our consciousness.
Oh God. All right.
And we haven't, that has not been duplicated yet. And that may be the one thing that can save us.
Okay. Well, what we're seeing here with these large language models is an incredible ability to simulate human intelligence without any biology involved. Okay. Now, this biology guy gets very suspicious when that kind of stuff starts to happen. And by the way, just so I can go there on the other part of this, you have people who want to make a new religion out of AI. Are you aware of these people?
Well, I'm sure. I have no doubt about it.
Okay. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you might as well call them the new Antichrist. They, you actually, what are they
worshiping? Robots?
There's an AI Jesus Christ out there, for example. I'm not kidding. So
I find that amusing.
Yeah, well, it's
disturbing but amusing.
All right. I mean,
is he the same kind of? Is he saying, "Hey, turn the other cheek," like the old Jesus, the real Jesus, or no?
Okay, it's one thing to repeat Jesus. It's another thing to pretend to be Jesus. And to your point about consciousness, all right, if you're now claiming that there's a certain amount of sentience associated with this AI version, you're claiming that there's, some version of Jesus there, and I'm not buying it.
Well, not some attempt at a version of Jesus. Not
all right. Then, but okay, but
people are gonna buy into it though.
So there's a church, I believe, in San Francisco, built around this. So this is kind of like just the beginning of this stuff. I mean, yeah, you can shake your head. How many suckers are out there? How many people are going to fall for this crap?
A lot.
Yes. And speaking of falling for it, now I'm going to go off the rails myself here. Okay. I hope I got this right. Was it Newsmax or Fox? I think it was Fox last night. There's this young girl, young college student who is with Turning Point USA, mm-hmm. and pro-life, very pro-life, firmly so. She is personally committed to carrying on the work of Turning Point USA. All right?
Good for her.
So this brave young woman had the courage to stand out in the middle okay, in the middle of being assaulted by all these Antifa types making her
Oh,
case. Okay. And she said, she learned the hard way. You can't talk to them, you can't reason with them. But here's the problem I was having, because the clip was showing this young woman standing there, calmly, patiently, passionately, emphatically arguing with these idiots. Okay. But here's the thing. She, dare I say, looked normal, dressed normally. The others, one had some kind of mask over his head and a costume, and he's gyrating in front of her. And some other guy's got some big bag of box on him, and he's doing other weird things, moving around, not really, just, challenging him, intimidating her, doing all this stuff. Okay. And I swear, Jason, as I'm watching this, I'm saying, am I looking at people who are demonically possessed?
geez.
I mean, you can say they're Antifa types, but this looks like a scene from a painting of a Christian being assaulted by demons or some such thing. But it's live, it's real, it's right there, it's happening now.
I can't disagree. They're possessed with something.
Yeah. And so here's the weird part. When
mental illness
who are Antifa are done and they go home, are they the same way at home?
No, of course not.
This is very weird. Okay.
They're
It's a hell of
chameleons.
an act. It's a hell of an act if that's
Well,
what
so,
it
you
is.
know what? It takes all kinds. Some are, some aren't, probably.
Who knows?
A lot of it is an act.
Yeah, but to see, well, it's quite a scene.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to mention it again.
Mhm.
The connection between mental illness and our political problems in America is a lot closer than people think.
Yeah, well, I'd say it was on display there, fully on display. So I don't know what to do with this. I mean, I go back to things like we've talked about Bonhoeffer and his theory of stupidity. The idea of how there's this mass hypnosis that can take place. And it's like something of that sort has affected people. People have tried to come up with all kinds of explanations as to why it is there's certain segments of the population that are affected like this. I don't have an answer, but here it is. And yeah, we're stuck with this as a mess. But I have a solution.
What is your solution?
Well, there is the fine little town of Guilford, Connecticut. You've been to Guilford, Connecticut.
Have I been to Guilford, Connecticut?
I'm sure you have many times, right?
Many, 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 many times.
Yeah, there you go.
50 times or more.
There'd be a whole lot of criminals living there in Guilford, I am sure. It is that kind of a town because they have so many people who actually work at Yale and live in Guilford. So, of course, there'd be a criminal element in Guilford.
Guilford and all the other towns will begin with G, like Glastonbury and Griswold.
Don't forget Greenwich.
And Greenwich and Granby.
Oh, Greenwich. Oh, my God. Do I want to do this? I'll get to that. If I can remember it, I'll get to it later. But right now, with Guilford, we had a small victory, where one of these drag queens was supposed to read to kids at the Guilford Free Library. That was back on June 4th.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Okay. Well, the event managed to go down in some other towns around the state. Luckily, not in Guilford. Enough people bitched and moaned and complained about this in Guilford that they canceled the event.
Oh, that's good.
All right. I'm declaring a small victory, and I'm taking it.
That's what we need to use that as an example.
Okay.
We should use that as a testimonial to other towns.
That would be
this kind of crap is going on in a lot more places than just Guilford.
I have some other form of political manipulation in mind, and I want to share it with you.
I'm listening.
Okay. So the school system, which of course caters to pedophiles and perverts with its LGBTQ crap and transgender crap. Okay. Meantime, the superintendent, Dr. Paul Freeman, is not the most desirable person in the world, but all the liberals love him. The liberals really love him.
Okay.
Okay. Well, while they're busy,
he allows this crap in his school district.
Yes. Well, I'm going to tell you about the crap. The latest test scores have just come out. Now, we're still confirming it. We haven't nailed it down yet, but what we heard
even worse
is that the math proficiency scores dropped from roughly 62% down to 55%.
And that's in what period of time frame?
Well, 2 years.
So let me get this straight. The COVID was now 6 years ago.
That's right.
And we had a precipitous drop in performance as a result of the pandemic, and we can understand that. And you would think there would be some sort of a leveling off and an increase, but what you're telling me is instead we continue to plummet.
Well, last few years, okay, it's been less of a decline, but it went like this.
Oh, 62 to 55, that's a big drop.
It is, and still trying to find out about the story with the math scores. Okay, so the point is that the school superintendent may not be doing such a good job if the scores are dropping. Might you agree with me, sir?
Oh my Lord. Maybe, yes, and maybe it's because they're teaching kids, transsexual stuff instead of.
Okay. Well,
I mean, this is unbelievable.
Okay. However,
there needs to be a major cultural revolution in this country. Okay. And I mean major.
All right. This may sound counterintuitive, but I have a proposal.
Yes.
Remember what we did with Aaron Stewart.
Oh.
Okay. I want to get a lurid, full color, full size, cutout image of the drag queen who was supposed to be there. The drag queen's name, by the way, is Bleach.
Speaking of Aaron Stewart, Aaron Stewart.
Let me finish, and then we'll get to that. Okay. So now the idea is make the sign, and then we'll put up another sign next to it says, "Dear Bleach, we're so sorry you couldn't make it to the thing, the canceling. It was a big mistake. Please come back because we're going to nominate you to be the next school superintendent."
Are you demonstrating absurdity with absurdity?
Absolutely.
You need to get Aaron Stewart out of my car.
Okay. All right.
I mean the cutout of Aaron Stewart, okay. Not Aaron Stewart himself.
I'll put it in the barn. Okay.
Aaron Stewart's still alive and well. It's just the cutout out of my car.
All right. Just in time for the federal investigation. God forbid that would be considered a form of evidence for the investigation.
I'm going to be in Norwich tomorrow, so maybe I'll run over and meet up with you.
Okay.
I have some more stuff for the account I got to give you too. So.
All right. Well, if you see Douglas, you could give it to him.
Oh, I just give it to him. That's what I'll do.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. I don't want her with me in Vermont. I really don't.
No. That will ruin your vacation, I'm afraid.
She will. We'd have to put. Well, you know what would happen? To be honest with you, eventually we run a little campfire every night. And it's hard to find. We have plenty of wood to burn, but a lot of times kindling is hard to find. We use some paper plates from dinner, and so Aaron would end up being. What's that?
Kindling is hard to find.
Kindling can sometimes be hard to find because it's a camp area, and it gets all the little pine things get scraped, get picked over, and there's not a lot. It's a pine tree area, so there's not a lot of little branches.
You just have to.
It's a very confined area between a steep hill and the lake, so. It's not that we couldn't find kindling. It's just not always, we end up using dinner plates and things like that. But what would happen is, Aaron would end up being kindling on the old campfire by Thursday or Friday of the week.
Okay, well, yeah, I guess. Well, actually,
we're not bringing her with us.
There is something that could be used for kindling.
Yeah, all my closed case files help too.
No, your beard.
Oh, well, no, that'll be gone by tomorrow night.
Cut off a little of the hair there. There you go.
A little, yeah. That's not going to be kindling. Come on now, sir. I get your point.
Just a thought.
Hey, I'm going to Vermont. This is what people look like up there.
All right. So there are probably better things to talk about, but I'm going over there.
You're going to go to Iran?
I'm working on another article.
Okay.
And the title of the article is the Connecticut legislature, enemy of the state.
Good one. Get it published far and wide. I will repost it once you release it.
Okay. So the argument is simple. There are at least two big areas in which the Connecticut legislature has committed a lot of sins. The first and most prominent
atrocities
is passing laws which are unconstitutional.
And atrocious.
Oh, the atrocious thing is kind of in the eye of the beholder, but I think we can make our argument that they are. So there's that. The second part, though, tougher to deal with, but it's still, the concept is that there's certain rules and procedures that you run if you're going to have a properly functioning legislature. And guess what? That's right. The Democrats violate them all the time for their own purposes. Okay, that is not good government. So, as far as I'm concerned, they're an enemy of the state, at least on two grounds.
The enemy of the people. Really, it's better to say that. I would rephrase that and say that the enemy of the people.
No, enemy of the state.
Well, they are the state. They're the enemy of the people. It's the people that are being violated. It's the people that are being victimized.
Okay,
they're an enemy to the people.
No, they end up
yes, they're an enemy of the state, but they're also enemy of the people.
Violating the Constitution, violating the rules of their own rules of procedure. These are the structure of government, which is the state.
Of which who is the victim of those things, though? The people.
Yeah,
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying it's also an enemy of the people as well.
I can put that in as a paragraph, but I think calling them the enemy of the state is a little bit more of an attention getter.
I would disagree on that. Enemy of the people. We're the people.
Yeah, no. When you have, the point is to accuse them of what they would accuse us of.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I'm not talking about projection either.
What about the notion that the word democracy, Mark Cook makes a good point about the word democracy.
Yeah.
Democracy is really mob rule. We are not a democracy. We've never been a democracy.
Sure, I know.
Delaware wasn't even around when we founded this country.
No, the point is the founding fathers understood that very well.
Right. We're what is called a representative republic, which is a representations of the people in government, participation of the people in government.
All right. So you know the old joke about the difference between a democracy and a republic, right?
Yes. Tell us.
About the sheep and the two wolves?
Tell us.
Okay, a democracy is when you have two wolves and a sheep, and they're deciding what to have for dinner. A republic is when you have two wolves and a sheep, and they decide what to have their dinner, but the sheep has a gun. Okay. The ability to defend himself against.
Does the sheep also have thumbs?
Might also, in this case, just for artistic purposes, yes. But that's the example that's used a lot. It makes a lot of sense to me. Anyway, so what was the other thing that we're going to get into here?
We got to talk about Iran a little bit because supposedly we're close to this deal.
Yeah. Well, all right. So I know we have more to say, but my joke is this. Okay, this is the sum total of what we have to say about the deal on Iran. BS. Let's move on.
Right.
Okay. It's just more. What is it? Rope-a-dope. There was another jawboning. Somebody said that President Trump is basically jawboning, it's getting repetitive. Okay, we keep hearing him do the same things one way or another. Where it's at the very last minute. Oh, gee, got a phone call. Oh, gee, they promised this. Oh, gee, we agreed to whatever. And then no sooner does that come out, then what happens? Then Iran comes out and says, we don't know what you're talking about.
Right. So, but this time supposedly there's a report saying they were agreeing with it. But here's what it is.
Yes.
I have a prediction for you. And I hope this is not what happens. I want to be wrong.
Yeah.
At some point, we're going to have this deal.
Yeah.
And you're going to see what looks like the end of hostilities. And then when you're going to see about 5 or 10 years from now, the same old thing. Iran's doing this act here, that act there. They're back in business.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so weaker, it's not the 47-year war will be a 57-year war. And Trump will have really not accomplished anything with this entire thing, because Iran will celebrate a deal and sit back and go, "Oh, just sit and play possum for a little while." And
sure. Obvious to me, obvious to you.
That's why you don't negotiate with terrorism. It's something that Trump's lost sight of, and I think that's a smart thing.
Right.
That was the one part of our foreign policy that was smart that we're not doing now.
But look what happened to the oil prices. All right, this is the thing that he's trying to keep under control.
I get it.
Plus, did you hear the little story that he told?
What little story did he tell?
About the tankers?
Tell us.
Okay, well, the story is, I believe, as he related it, if I've got it right. Audience can correct me. Ready, Eric? The, what was it? 22 Iranian oil tankers tried to sneak through the Strait of Hormuz. No transponders, no radar, lights out, middle of the night. I did say 22, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't work. Navy stopped them all and turned them back.
Nice.
Okay, so you can imagine what they were trying to do. They were trying to rush the gate, if you will,
Yeah.
by sending out that many tankers at one time.
Didn't
And
work.
guess what? You could send out 100 and it won't work because we'll eventually get them all. Okay.
Well, I also heard that Trump is threatening to take the Strait of the
Carg Island.
Carg Island.
That's
right.
just it, though. He made the threat about Carg Island, and it was shortly after that when he said, "Oh, they decided to make a deal after all."
Yeah.
I think the Carg Island was a perfectly legitimate way to pressure them.
Yeah, I agree, but I still think there's no such thing as a deal, though. So I'm with you on that.
Well,
the only thing is, let them make a deal, and then maybe we got something going on the inside where they can take them down from within and nice and quiet afterward in a few months. I'll be fool with that.
Right. So let me just.
Gotta go down.
All right. So let me just put. All right. Okay. Carg Island.
Let me ask you this: if they sign a deal, will part of that? Will one of the clauses in that deal read, "No more death to America chance, no more death to America"?
No. Yeah, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Well, that's
hey,
you laugh, but that's
even First Amendment rights, even for enemies. Okay. Oh, geez. Okay, that ain't all right. Meantime, though, there have been ongoing attacks on. Remember this name, Bandar Abbas. What is Bandar Abbas? What is Bandar Abbas?
Tell us.
The naval port. Their naval port.
Okay.
Hormuz. Okay. In the Navy. Okay. On the East Coast, we have a main port for the U.S. Navy. That would be Norfolk, Virginia, where I used to serve. Okay.
Okay.
And Bandar Abbas is their Norfolk. I mean, I wouldn't dare draw a comparison between the two, but
no, but it's their version of it, which is weak and terrible, but yes.
Okay. So we've been launching attacks on them. We're not talking about special forces still, but you can be sure that there's a lot of special force stuff going on. We just ain't talking about it yet.
I'm okay with that.
And it'll be the stuff of legend when those stories are finally told. All right, so the Carg Island thing, all right, first of all, he was violating his first rule by announcing a Carg Island invasion, which is never tell them what you're going to do. But
that was probably a strategy.
Yeah, and at least on the face of it, it seemed to work. I don't know. It's hard to tell here because
nothing's worked until that regime has been overthrown or destroyed.
Yeah,
nothing is over.
All right, so
over.
So an interesting point has been made about the regime. As we've managed to kill one layer after another of their leadership, now we're getting down to the younger layer, as they say. So on the one hand, the younger layer of these fanatics are more determined to stay in the fight than the senior leadership was.
That's very possible.
Okay, well, guess what that means to me? That means they're more foolish. They're inclined to more rational.
What that means to me is the only way to dispose of this regime is to overthrow them or take them out.
Okay, well, overthrowing, what is it? See, I want to describe military desertions in the same way that Hemingway described bankruptcy. It happens slowly and then it happens suddenly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the desertions have been happening slowly, but they keep happening. We're looking for the moment where desertions will happen suddenly.
Mm-hmm. And more massively.
And well, that's what's implied. Yeah. And I don't see any evidence of that just yet. And, you know what? Let's use another principle here that we got to remember. You ready for the next principle?
I'm ready. I'm buckled up.
Timing is everything. Okay? Mm-hmm. There is a right moment to strike. And that means the other times to strike would not be the right moments to strike. So they're looking at this situation, as Operation Economic Fury takes its toll. And slowly but surely, it's harder for them to do the things they want to do. They're going to run out of potatoes to feed their troops. There's a point there where you say, okay, They're just weak enough now where we can really have an impact on them. So, all right, so there's that principle. Now, I want to go back to a gentleman for whom I have a lot of respect. Maybe sometimes he says things that may not be quite right. I'm speaking of Mr. Rickards. I forget his first name, but he's on the Steve Bannon show every so often.
All right.
Referred to as a brilliant strategist. He taught at the Naval War College in Newport, Rhode Island. All important. He's a very smart guy, but he's definitely in the camp of don't do it. You know, don't invade, don't put troops on the ground, etc. So he makes the argument that if you're going to do it right, by his calculations, and I'm going, wait a second, he is in the Naval War College, he might know what he's talking about. 600,000 troops. That's what he thinks
would take to do it. Boots on the ground. Of course,
Yes.
we got Paulie DePietro watching over here on Facebook Live right now. Our guy Paulie from East Hartford.
Or what?
He thinks that it's all about the oil. He thinks Trump wants the oil. He's not going to make a deal, and he's going to take Park Island. Yeah, that's what he said. I don't know, Paulie. I don't know about that.
Okay, dude, you got to go back to Iraq. All right, this was the exact same accusation that was made when we invaded Iraq. And who got the oil? Not us.
Yeah.
Okay.
I disagree with you here, Paulie. I don't think Trump wants the oil. I don't think he cares about the oil. Not in this situation.
We're already self-sufficient.
We have plenty of oil, Paulie. We're making more oil than we've ever made domestically in the history of this country.
Yeah.
We're flooded with oil. Plus, we just took Venezuela's oil.
Trump wants the oil. The government isn't in the oil business.
No.
They regulate the oil business. All right.
Right. It's not about the oil. Well, I think he means that he wants the oil for the United States economy, but we don't need the oil over there. We already have more than we want to handle things domestically. That's really what Trump's all about.
Anyway, so there's another story here to throw in. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, there came the announcement. 22 countries, including the United States, signed a joint letter telling Iran to get its act together. Stop terrorizing Iranians in other countries. Stop sending agents. Stop intimidating them. Right? Stay home. All right. Now, let me just throw another one in. Oh, by the way, what if 22 countries instead decided to declare war on Iran? Well, there's a thought.
I agree with what Paulie says. Trump is not the same. He takes over Cargill and takes over the world's economy. I don't think that's what he's not the same about, but I agree with you that there's something going on. There may be probably people saying things to President Trump that we're not aware of. So,
okay, well, we got to trust that he's smart enough to realize when people are bullshitting him. Okay, some people lead us to believe that he's not smart enough to know when he's being bullshitted, but I disagree.
No, he knows what's up with that. He's got it. He's too smart for that.
All right. So in the meantime, we had this little event in the Pentagon. You heard about that, right?
I heard about a partial shutdown, a partial lockdown.
Yeah, some noxious substances in the air. They didn't tell us what they were. Okay. But, ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you of a little story you probably forgot about a long time ago during the Biden administration when it was discovered that there was an Iranian spy working in the Defense Department. Does anybody remember that story?
I remember hearing about the story.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what happened to the guy? Nothing.
Wow.
He stayed there.
That's incredible.
Okay. Oh,
he's still there?
Far be it for me to suggest that there might still be an Iranian spy operating within the Department of Defense and the Pentagon who might have just sabotaged the place. Far be it for me to suggest that.
That's why I always said this is 47. This is not a 4-month war overseas. This is a 47-year worldwide war.
Right. Anyway, I also want to mention that I'm hoping that one of the members who might be watching us tonight would be Mr. Rowland.
Who?
Mr. Rowland.
Really?
Well, I found his contact information on your list.
Oh, yes, you did.
And so I texted the boy.
Interesting.
I don't know if he's watching. He hasn't texted me yet. I don't know.
He's pretty disengaged. You know, Paulie, I wouldn't mind if the United States takes over the world economy and makes it all a free market economy. I'm okay with that.
What is wrong with Paulie? Okay, what? Dude, get in touch with reality, please.
Well, let's get back to Roland for a minute, though.
Yes. Okay.
You know, I told you I've talked to him briefly. We've texted back and forth a couple times.
Yeah, and so when you sent me the list, there he was, and I said, you know what? I'm going to send him a text.
Did he answer you?
No, not yet. Or maybe never. I don't know. But I just had to give it a try.
I tried him. I went to his house.
Right.
This is
Okay.
back at the beginning of 2025.
Yep.
And left him a note, and then I texted him with the same number. So that's what must have. He must have got my text message. This was in like the spring of 2025. He must have got my text messages, and if he was able to see that it was the same number that I left on a handwritten note on his door, he must have said,
Yeah.
"Holy Christ, this guy's been in my house."
Yeah.
I'll answer him. I got to answer this
thought.
guy. So he did. He answered me. I told him what I was up to, but he just basically told me I'm retired. I'm not involved. I don't want to get involved.
Okay. All right.
I don't blame the guy. He got railroaded pretty bad, in my opinion. Not that he didn't make some
Well,
mistakes.
Look,
in terms
all I
of
can do is
fraud,
go with what I read in the papers. All right.
well, look, if you look at the kind of fraud we're looking at today, and if you look at what John Rowland did supposedly, come on,
Yeah. No comparison.
no comparison.
All right. So let's touch on another piece of fraud. I'm going to call it racial fraud.
Ooh, now we're getting
Okay.
serious.
There's
You
an
should do a
article.
whole show about race one day. I could do that.
Yeah, well, there's a whole thing to get into. Yes, but the article. I'm not sure where it was. Maybe the Connecticut Mirror, talking about how we're just going to say there is a blue state that has decided 17 of its schools are, quote, racially imbalanced. And what state could that possibly be?
Probably ours.
That would be correct, sir. Okay, so what's this stuff with racial imbalance? I thought we dropped that stuff a long time ago, but maybe I'm wrong. Racially imbalanced, really. And you supposedly have a secret formula for what's the correct racial balance. Now, let me just bring up Guilford again, all right? So it's not clear to me what constitutes a racial imbalance. There, if you have a town that is, quote, 90% white and 10% black, okay, then the school population should be 90% white and 10% black.
Mm-hmm.
Is that racially balanced?
Yeah, but what is it instead?
I don't know. I'm just using that as an example.
It's interesting that Eric put out a statistic that in 1985 or something like that, the white population of the world was 35%, and today it's down to, it's down 20%, from 35 to 15% or something like that. Oh no, I think it went from 51 down to 35%. In other words, are whites being murdered around the world?
No, we're being outproduced. That's
okay.
All. Whites are not having as many children. You have, and Japan for that matter. But
Trump will never take Carg Island, Paulie. I'm predicting right now. He's putting me. Listen, you and I will talk about this on our PJ show, but Trump will never invade Carg Island. He's not going to do it.
Yeah, you got to. Paulie has to. Paulie. I mean, I have a message for Paulie.
I get that it's about the money. I get that, but it's
okay, dude.
To a point.
No, you have a problem in front of you. It's called Iran. You have certain objectives. All right. So they're the objectives that are for public consumption, and then they're the real objectives. So you can be now. The problem is achieving the real objectives is, in this case, rather difficult. That's right. A nation of 92 million people.
Regime change. Regime change. I'm going to say it.
Have. Yeah.
Regime change. I'm going to say the magic two words.
Gene change.
Regime change.
Oh, regime change. Yes,
those are the magic words that we don't want to say that are real. That should happen.
All right. So I don't understand why Paulie can't concentrate on that and think through the possibility that substantial resources are being expended in the Department of War, on exactly how this regime change will be brought about. You don't think they're thinking about that?
Oh, I know they are. They should be.
Okay, Paulie, dude, focus on that.
I agree.
Okay, so I'm going to say it. It's not that hard.
All right, with that, we're going to wrap it up. I'm ready to go for tonight. I got a lot to do. I can't even go to bed. I got a lot of work to do, and I got to get ready for your son tomorrow.
And again, to the people who've been staying with us, thank you again so much. I appreciate
it. Please like and subscribe to us. We're going to repost on Facebook and on YouTube, Substack, Rumble. Watch us on Common Sense News and Entertainment as we increase our reach And our technology, by the way, we got people coming over to help bring this thing a little bit more up to speed. So it's going to be great. And tomorrow night I'll be here, but after that I'm in Vermont for the week.
Right. So then it's going to be DJ, Ricky, and I. We'll work out a whole thing here. I mean, I got to do a better job of preparing cool stuff for the audience. I'll have.
Yeah, which we are working on production and bring it up and volume too. And another thing is, we're gonna spruce it up, you guys. Just wait. Just hang in there with us. Like and subscribe and watch us spruce this thing up.
That's right. Same here. Okay. Like and subscribe to Yankee T News too. Yeah.
Yankee T News all the way.
Yes. All right.
All right. Good night, everybody. God, for Common Sense News and Entertainment, the battle once again always between the state and the family. God bless Connecticut. God bless